All right, what's going on, guys? SteelTwins back at you with mock draft number 9.
Yeah, man. And with the 49th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Cam Akers, running back out of Florida State. If you guys watched our previous mocks, you guys know that we are incredibly high on the Steelers targeting running back. We think that, honestly, out of every need or every need that the Steelers could address in the draft, running back is the biggest one for obvious reasons. We all know James Conner and his contract ending after this year, and, of course, his injuries and the depth we have behind him. Although we like Benny Snell a lot, I think we should give him an opportunity. He should have a bigger role this year, but still, he's kind of still improving. And I do like Snell a lot. He showed a lot of showcase, especially last year in the final game specifically. So he could have that second-year burst that a lot of running backs usually show. That's what we're hoping. But, you still got to be insured, and that's what Cam Akers would apply there. And Cam Akers is, without a doubt, one of our more favorite running backs in this entire draft class. He's almost up there with J.K. Dobbins as our favorite, to be honest with you, because this guy is absolutely crazy.
He's a stud.
He really is. He's got all the measurables and the feel and the look of what a Steelers running back would have, honestly. I know we say that about a lot of running backs this draft class, but Cam Akers especially. He's got speed to him, which is crazy for his play style. He's got strength to him. He's got the size, the body build, the physique, of course, the run style, and he has versatility to him, which is great. And we all know that in today's day and age in the NFL, running backs need to have that versatility factor to them. That's what Cam Akers applies, honestly. We were discussing between Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Cam Akers, but honestly, I could see Helaire being taken before Akers. Now, it really depends on the running back position overall. We don't even know if Swift, Dobbins, or Taylor or any other running back could be taken before 49, honestly. They could all be available because running back's not necessarily a big need for most teams. And if anything, I can see at least one of them being taken off the board, and that could be any of the top 3.
Oh, yeah.
But honestly, you never know with the draft. You really never know, honestly. And that's why we go with Cam Akers here. Again, it was between Edwards-Helaire of LSU or Akers. We ultimately went with Akers because I think he is the better fit. I like Helaire and his versatility, and especially his elusiveness, and, of course, the fact that he is probably the better running back in terms of carrying the ball, keeping hold of the ball, and not giving away the ball and stuff like that.
Not giving up any turnovers, pretty much.
Right. But Akers, man, every time I just think of running backs, Akers keeps coming back to me, and I think he'd be the nice fit and rotate with Conner and Snell, of course. Get that running back committee going, eventually take over Conner's spot when Conner goes, and we get Akers and Snell, as that 1-2 punch in future years, man. That's just the way I see it.
Cam Akers, this guy can make a lot of people miss. This guy can run over people. This guy's very versatile. He's not a bad pass catcher whatsoever. And the great thing about him, he won't start day one.
No.
Like a lot of these running backs, that we
could potentially draft.
Yeah, exactly. Gives the guy some time to develop, and when his time is right, this guy could be an absolute stud for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely. And they've said they've expressed that they're serious about using the rushing game. So yeah, Cam Akers there in the second round, man. Although if guys like Dobbins and Taylor or Swift are there, I'm taking one of them over Akers, but who knows with the draft, man. All of them could be gone.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Now with the 102nd overall pick, our third-round comp, Pittsburgh Steelers select Tyler Byde, interior offensive lineman from Wisconsin.
Yeah. Pretty much, I'm gonna just come out and say it. This very well could be Ben's last year. He has 2 years left in his contract. I know Ben has come out and said that he is throwing without pain for the first time in years, which is incredible to think about. We could be getting a great side of Ben. Everything that Colbert said before the Combine and at the Combine might come true. We might be getting a better Ben Roethlisberger than before, which is insane to think about. But the Steelers are in a win-now situation. And if the fantasy comes true at the beginning of next February, Ben's going to hang it up. Or even if it doesn't come true, who knows? We don't necessarily know what Ben's completely thinking. He's contemplated retirement for years, although that might just be drama. Right there, he's stirring up drama for the media and shit. But honestly, anything could happen. No one expects Andrew Luck to retire out of the blue before the regular season. So, I don't know, man. But this very well could be Ben's last year, especially if the Steelers are going out and pulling all the stops to go win now, which is the best time to do so for obvious reasons. So, and, of course, a few years back, Pouncey said that when Ben goes, I go. So if Ben calls it a career after this upcoming season, Pouncey said he's going to do the same. And then we're going to have no center. Although we have Steven Wisniewski, he could come in and fill the center spot, but I still like the offensive line to go young. And I think it would be the perfect time because we have most of the positions addressed. This is the perfect time to go after offensive linemen in this draft and start developing them to fill in those guys that could potentially leave due to free agency or retire. Guys like Villanueva, guys like Pouncey,
Right.
So, and that is Tyler Byde. He can come in, be the rotational guy at guard and center, of course, with Wisniewski. But he would eventually move over to center, of course, and fill in for Pouncey's spot when Pouncey calls it a career.
Right.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Bydaz's nickname is Tyler Badass. So that alone kind of made me a fan of this guy.
Right.
But he has the measurables and the athleticism at center, and of course the blocking ability that could help out, in the future for the offensive line and for the rushing game if we do get Cam Akers or a running back early, honestly. So, yeah, he pretty much fill in for Pouncey. Initially be depth, of course, develop, then fill in for Pouncey whenever he goes, whether that's a year or two from now. So.
Yeah.
Now, the 124th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Devon Duvernay, wide receiver out of Texas. We finally go receiver here in the 4th round, and we go with a big speedster. This is a guy that we are heavy on, specifically because of his speed, but he also shows a lot of physicality to him. He shows a lot of yards after catch ability. He can play in the slot and outside, more so in the slot, but that's where he'd be a potential mismatch because of his speed.
Oh, yeah.
And his route running, although it could definitely use some work, of course, but that's where he would come in. We will work on that. We all know how the Steelers work with wide receivers, drafting wide receivers, so that could speak goodness for him. He'd be the depth guy behind our main three, of course, and Deion Kane, so that would be nice for him. He'd come in and split reps with the guys, of course, and be one of those speedy threats that the Steelers could really use on the offense.
Oh, yeah.
He's the speed that the Steelers need on offense and at receiver, and a speedy guy that Ben has honestly missed for a while.
Exactly.
So that's what he would apply. He would get his feet wet in special teams if we want to put him at return specialist.
Which is perfect because the Steelers are going to use Deontay Johnson a lot more on the offense, and he's a fantastic return specialist. But you want to make sure he's healthy enough to stay on the offensive side of the ball. So that's where you can put Devon Duvernay to get his feet wet on special teams, and he's a very, very reliable and very good return specialist, in my honest opinion.
Absolutely. Now his return stats don't speak much, but he's got the speed and the vision to get up the. We're not asking for anything special from kick returns. Just get up the damn field and give us good field position. I don't want no Dree Archer or Ryan Switcher fair catching all the time and only getting us to the fucking 15-yard line and putting us in bad field position. I want someone that can actually get us up the field and get us some decent field position. Duvernay applies that speed and that vision and that elusiveness and that, after contact and after yards ability or after catch ability.
Yeah.
So that's what he would apply there. Not only for the return specialist ability, which he would get his feet wet initially, but for the offense in general. So that right there.
Right.
Now at the 135th pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Tierney Moose, dime linebacker out of Clemson. Mark Barron has been released. We've been saying that Ulysses Gilbert, who we drafted in the 6th round last year, should get an opportunity to be the dime linebacker. And maybe that will get his feet wet, and then he can start swapping roles at the number 2 inside linebacker position with Vince Williams and pair him up with Devin Bush. And eventually, maybe, hopefully, and he has the potential, hopefully we get a Devin Bush and Gilbert 1-2 duo at inside linebacker in the future.
Right.
That's a lot of fucking speed.
It is.
And great coverage ability right there as well. So that's where Gilbert could get his feet wet. And he definitely deserves the opportunity, and he has a lot of potential, man, believe me. But Tierney Moose would be the ideal dime backer, honestly, for the Steelers. They've been looking for a dime backer for a while. That is what Tierney Moose would apply. He is originally a safety, but he can play linebacker as well. The crazy thing is he has the speed and the coverage ability of a safety, but he has the build of a linebacker. That's filthy.
That is.
And then you pair him up with Devin Bush as well. Hell, if you want, you can have a 3 rotation at not only dime backer, but of course the number 2 inside linebacker spot behind Bush. You could have Moose, you could have Gilbert and Williams all eventually split reps.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, if you want to run them dime packages, that's where Moose comes in. If you're trying to, fill in the short yardage, like the third and shorts, shit like that. That's where you bring in Vince Williams because he's that stuffer guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use Gilbert for similar to what you would use in dime packages, but he could apply that speed as well to pair with Bush. So I think that would be pretty ideal right there to start getting some guys' feet wet like Moose and like Gilbert, and eventually take some relief off of Vince Williams, of course, and just kind of keep the offense guessing because you don't necessarily know who's going to be on the field beside Bush. And that could be great, honestly, because all that speed and all that versatility right there is crazy to think about.
It is. It really is.
So that's kind of my thinking there. But Tierney Moose would be the ideal dime backer and could split reps at linebacker, or he could be safety depth, of course, but he would be the ideal linebacker for the Steelers pretty much.
Right.
So.
Now with the 198th overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Benito Jones, interior defensive lineman out of Ole Miss.
Yeah. Defensive line depth. We have signed a bunch of XFL stars. Granted, again, they're XFL stars. They are pretty much camp bodies. Some could find a way onto the 53, but looking at the AAF signings last year, like Cameron Kelly, they didn't pan out too well.
No, they
so
didn't.
We still could go defensive line depth. The Steelers might be high on Isaiah Buggs, and I think a lot of Steelers fans are as well. I think people are saying he was a steal last year in the 6th round. Similar to Gilbert, of course. I don't know how both of them dropped to the 6th round, honestly. They both could be steals, but Buggs, with Hargrave gone, this is his perfect opportunity to step up and take that defensive tackle role. Carl Dunbar was the reason why we drafted Isaiah Buggs, of course, and he's a big fan of Buggs. He has connection with Buggs. This is the perfect time for Buggs to step up and take that role, and Buggs has even expressed on social media, it's my time now.
It is.
He's like, I know the role I'm given. He knows the opportunity I'm given. I got to fill that role. I got to fill that hole. But Hargrave left, so I hope so. We're all very high on Buggs. He could take that role. We just need depth, and Jones could give him some competition. Same thing with Alualu, so I think that'd be good there. Jones would apply some possible competition, but of course defensive line depth.
Obviously.
And same thing would apply for the last pick, the 232nd pick, the Steelers select Dejon Harris, inside linebacker out of Arkansas. Inside linebacker depth, I know we have Bush, we have Gilbert, we have Williams, we have potentially Moose, and we have Robert Spillane and guys like that. But we could still use some solid inside linebacker depth, some solid competition. If he doesn't make the 53, he could still always be on the practice squad, work his way up like most guys.
Right.
That's kind of what Robert Spillane did. Although he was undrafted, he was on the practice squad for a few years, worked his way up. He could fill in that Matakavage role. That's kind of what Harris would apply here. He'd be depth, could make the practice squad, and eventually work his way up. That's pretty much it right there.
Yeah.
So let us know your guys' thoughts down below, of course, for the mock, man. And if you guys have any mock draft of your own, go ahead and put it down below. And see you guys in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys later.
Peace!